Hi, I'm Josh Ackerman with Park Industries Customer Service Department. On this video, we are going to show you how to reference the Y-axis on a Titan 3K or 4K. So to start out with here, we are going to first navigate to our Setup tab and our Offsets tab. And I'm just going to double check that all my motors are reading. If all these axes are green dots, our motor is reading, so we have connection there. If you're replacing a motor or something, then one of those will turn, it will be red. So just capture the reference point, cycle power, and then pull it back up and you should have a green dot. If you are struggling to get that green dot, please contact our customer service department and we'll help you figure out why that's not reading. So then to start out with the actual referencing process, we do want to make sure we're signed in as an authorized user. You do need to be signed in as a supervisor or higher on this machine to be able to do the referencing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to push in our e-stop to make sure we do not have a system on. And you can see here we already removed the bellow cover. We are going to also remove the bumper. And we'll just set that bumper to the side for right now. And remove both bellow cover and the bumper on the opposite side of the machine also. Once you have that done, we want to just pull our bridge forward. Now our cross travel is set in the center of our bridge, so we're just going to pull on that. If yours is off to the side and you're not getting the system on, I would suggest going in the back of the bridge and pushing forward in the center there to pull everything forward. So I'm just going to pull this forward, and our motors are still engaged and everything. And once you pull that all the way forward, that machine butted up against the hard stops itself. And I have a 2000s feeler gauge here, or a 2000s shim will work. And we're just gonna make sure that in between the white block here and the hard stop, that I cannot get that shim in there. If you can get a 2000 shim in there, then you do want to pull forward and get it so that you do have less than a 2000s gap there. You also do want to check your opposite side to make sure your gap is correct there. Once you have that fully pulled forward, then we're back to our setup and offset screen, and we are just going to capture reference on the Y-axis here. We'll capture that. It'll remind you that you do need to cycle power after you do this. So we'll hit yes, and we will exit out. If it gives you the option to do a backup, I would suggest doing the backup also there. We're going to go to shutdown, and now we're going to cycle power for 1 minute here, and we'll be back. Okay, now that we have the power back onto the machine, we got a system on. If you're struggling with the system on, we can come to our setup screen, our offsets, making sure that our axes are reading green again. Otherwise, we can come to our operate screen, and up in the top corner here, you can see your Y1 and your Y2 position. Make sure that those values, they should be zeroed out there. And then you can take your pendant here, and we're just going to drive our machine off of our hard stop. So we'll drive that back in our working area here, and then Next thing to do would be is to double check our numbers here. So you can see our Y and our Y2 still do match. We're going to push our E-stop in and see how much movement we have. You can see we had 2 thou movement on here. Our tolerance is 10 thousandths. The closer to 0 you have on that, the better. If yours is moving over that 10 thousandths or moving more than what you would like it to, then we need to start looking at rails and bearings, your backlash, making sure that's set, make sure your rails are clean. Something's binding in there, and what it's doing is when the motors relax and they don't have power to them because the E-stop is on, your bridge is going to go naturally drift to its most relaxed position. So if your rails are in really dirty or anything like that, that can cause that. If you are under, you do want to check your backlash then. So to do that, just simply get a system on again and set up your dial indicator to check your backlash. We do have a video on our website also of how to check the backlash. Once your backlash is set, if that's good, then you can proceed in wrapping up here. If you do have to set your backlash and you do remove that motor out of the gear, out of the gear rack to set it, I do suggest re-referencing the Y-axis here again. Because if you remove that motor out, that position could have changed a little bit and that could cause an issue with it. But if everything is good there, then you can proceed with putting your rubber bumpers back on the machine and your bellows. After you do that, I would recommend then coming to your setup screen and your tool rack. And I would reset your pocket positions for your tool rack. We do have another video on how to set the tool rack pockets on our website also here, if you would like to, if you do need to do that. Next step I would do is go to your overhead laser tab and run a core hole, a laser to core hole test. If that Y-axis position for the spindle did change ever so slightly, your overhead laser will be off then. So you do want to run a core hole test. We also do have a separate video that will show you how to run that overhead core test. Once you do them, then I would run a test edge and make sure your edge looks fine, everything's running properly. After that, you should be good to get back to production. As always, if you have any questions, please give our customer service department a call and we'd be glad to help. Thank you.